Hello and welcome back to the exciting conclusion of the 2023 European Disc Golf Championships, an incredible and esteemed event here in Tallinn, Estonia. We are happy to be bringing you final round front nine FPO lead card coverage brought to you by MDG Media. In only 18 short holes, we will crown your next European champion. I'm Connor Wood, and with me, Rachel Turton.
Yeah, I'm very excited to be back in the booth here. Thank you for having me. And yeah, round four, final. Here we go.
We see our leader coming into this final round. She has put on an incredible performance and really forging a legacy which looks to withstand the test of time. Kristin Tattar harnessing that home country energy.
Yeah, and looking to gain some strokes today is Silva Saarinen, currently in second place. And yeah, fantastic player. We'll hopefully see some highlight puts from her as always today.
Joining both of those players, another Team Finland competitor, Eveliina Salonen. Incredible power and shaping abilities off the tee. When she's putting it together on the green is a force to be reckoned with, and to no one's surprise has found herself on the lead card in the final round.
Joining our top four is Henna, a teammate of Eveliina. The Finns always put on an extremely good show, and yeah, I'm sure that Henna will be also looking to charge up that leaderboard today. Fantastic off the tee, and yeah, also a good player on the green.
And we see here our starting hole number one, a 259 meter par 5 off this scenic elevated tee with the power of the amphitheater crowd behind you. For a lot of our right-handed players, they'll need to push this line as the drone flies here is out of bounds. That white line to the left of your screen, showing that OB line. Players need to play to the left of that, work their way up the hill, and then cross laterally into the green and hopefully make their putt for the birdie, although requiring some great power and precision here to get 3 good shots and then a putt into the basket. A great hole to get started and really let out a good drive. See where your mind and body are at and how they're feeling that day.
Yeah, absolutely. The difficulty of hole one relies on the wind, really. Kristin showing the fans some love. A huge Estonian crowd here to see her. It's fantastic to see.
Silva has had a really good season coming into this final round in second place at 3 under. Has given herself a small lead over Eveliina as all 3 of these competitors look to push Kristin's incredible pace.
The Finns with quite a large contingent here at EDGC. I'm sure they'll have lots of teammates following and cheering along too. The weather on this final day was slightly different to the other days. It had been raining in the morning, and so the grass was quite wet, leading to maybe some bigger skips than perhaps we might normally have had on other days.
Hello. Nice to meet you. And here you are. I've been waiting for it.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a good thing I'm not flying.
As we see the grand ceremony that comes alongside the European Championships, potentially the most coveted title here in Europe for these players.
First of the team, with score -19 to par. Representing Estonia, reigning world champion, Kristin Tattar.
This tee shot always feels like quite a nervous one from inside the stands. You know, you've got the crowds behind you and you can't always tell what the wind is doing out there. So trying to put it just down the middle of the fairway is really important on this first shot.
Looking like a nice width for Kristin there. Challenging the OB initially, but with enough late stability to ensure that leftwards movement inbounds. She's done just that.
Representing Finland, Silva, Saarinen.
We've seen in previous rounds Silva opting to go for more of a turnover line on the left side to try and remain in bounds throughout the flight. And we see that again from her. She finds herself right up there, adjacent to Kristin. We'll have a bit of a throw-off between those two.
Representing Finland, Eveliina, Salonen.
Yeah, most players tending to play the big hyzer here. That OB side. Small channel on the left-hand side is the safe side. If players don't make it inside that channel, then they'll play from the drop zone. Eveliina with a perfect drive, textbook, right into the middle.
Fourth place, with score 2 over 4. Representing Finland, reigning European champion, Henna Blomroos.
Henna here coming into this final round, your reigning defending European champion. Henna as well looking to have a strong finish to her season and a strong start to this final round. We see an aggressive nose down angle, but a lot of stability in the disc choice, and it does her well. All 4 of our competitors in the fairway and still very much in play for the birdie.
Eveliina looking to bite off some big distance now. And a great shot perfectly up to the corner. Should be left with about a 70-75 metre up shot.
Kristin there, not really taking too much risk. Able to hold that one angle hyzer. Ensure that she doesn't get any left to right movement unnecessarily. As we see her pitch up to the corner as well alongside Silva. Both of them in position alongside with Eveliina. You can imagine that in this final round they've had quite a lot of practice on this course and have had opportunities to make adjustments if they need to, and we're seeing some very clean play down the fairway for our lead card.
As a par 4, I'd say that this is probably one of the more attackable holes for our lead card, especially with the distance.
Par 5,
And Silva.
rather.
Oh, par 5, of course, sorry, yeah. Silva showing us her distance there and perfectly pitching into the bullseye.
And we see Henna really looking to spike this one in, and she has done just that. Great precision on that intense hyzer angle, and beautifully done. We go to our leader now, Kristin, opting for more of the straight pushing shot, and also very well executed. Oh.
The perfect shot there, right under the koozie for Eveliina.
Just like that, with everyone on the green. Pretty incredible start for the lead card. This hole pretty consistently averaging over par, am I right, Rachel?
You are right, yes, but today slightly under par. The field was cut in half today. Only 20 players played in the finals day, so hole 1 played slightly under par today.
As we see the star frame to get our lead card kicked off here on hole 1. A perfect execution for each of them. We then move to hole 2, a 93-meter par 3. You have this flip-up gap and tunnel right here off the tee. You can really try and trust the understability and fight forwards with a straight pushing shot that hopefully has a soft finish to the left. Shaping very nicely for the right-handed backhand hyzer flip. There are also available options to go forehand or backhand hyzer, but the gaps tend to get a little bit narrower the truest line as the designer intended, I believe. A flip up down the middle. We go to Kristin, who historically in this tournament has had some great shots on this hole.
Oh, very unfortunately finds an early tree. It is possible with so many trees around and just a large kick, he'd be right, unfortunately. Silva looking to lace the line down the middle. Slight high release. Allows her to get quite a lot of distance down there before just catching branches. Should be left in C2.
Eveliina looking to likely make an adjustment to the height. Silva with a very high release. We see a lower one from Eveliina here. Doesn't find the full fade to the left, but certainly in circle 2. Looking for her birdie putt.
Henna also up into circle 2, misses all the trees, but a little short.
We go to Kristin. This is her second throw and third stroke with the OB penalty. Looking to find herself close, and unfortunately another tree kick and another out of bounds. To the right side, we will see Kristin take a little bit of damage here already on hole 2. Silva very quick up to the green.
Henna also pitching up inside the circle. Eveliina with a good half bid, nice and safe, and just taps the koozie. That'll be an easy tap in.
And Kristin with the circle 2 chance at redemption here. Finding metal, but not enough to stick it. As we go now to Henna, able to secure the fairly stress-free 3. We see the tape on Kristin's arm. She had actually expressed that the previous day in the morning of this round that she did have a little bit of arm pain, potentially as a result of a former injury or the high volume of play that's been going on this weekend, if not both, and we'll see how she chooses to manage that here today. Pars for our chase players, and for our leader, a few strokes lost with that triple bogey. Here you see hole 3, par 3 at 90 meters. You have this narrow height window that you need to punch out of between the high floor of the hedges and the low ceiling of the branches. You then need to beat these last 2 big guardians defending the basket, as well as avoiding the OB. There it is left, right, and long, but the OB left really the most likely to come into play, shaping very nicely for the forehand if you're comfortable with it for the right-handed player.
Quite a similar shot to the previous tee shot, really. Like you say, low ceiling, and need to get over the first hedge as well. Silva going for the slight turn of a backhand. Looks like a brilliant release. And she gets herself into the middle or mid-circle.
Beautiful angle control. We go now to Eveliina. And she has that quite high and turned over, that backhand line. Very difficult needing to create that left to right movement. You're looking for kind of a slow turning shot, and she finds the turn just a little bit too quickly. We'll see Henna look to potentially make that correction.
Yeah, Henna with a slight turnover too, just into one of the first trees. She'll have a pitch up for her next shot. Kristin going with the slightly larger forehand route. A really nice release. And she gets herself into the circle too. Yeah, perfect Kristin Tattar forehand just there.
Fantastic bounce back opportunity for her after hole 2. And coming into this final round with such a huge lead, I'd be interested to see where her mindset is at in terms of conservative play rather than aggressive, or if she's really trying to push the pace. As we see these upshots now, so far Silva, Eveliina, and Henna have, at least by the scorecard, played these first 2 holes identically. The chance for some separation here.
Just right side spit out for Silva. And Kristin with the birdie. Fantastic way to capitalise on that brilliant forehand.
We see Eveliina good for that from a tester distance. Does find the left side, but sneaks that one in. We go to Henna now. A little bit out the right side. She's left with this short comebacker. And Henna there will put her round back to even. The bogey happening very quickly. And the pars for Eveliina and Silva. Kristin sneaking a stroke back to her side. Here we are now on hole number 4, a par 3 at 96 meters. You see that this walking path here extending forwards, pushing this tree line. You really want something that flies straight and then finds a late fade through the left, tacking and piercing through the gaps in this tree line and hopefully finding your way up to the green. There is also OB long. If you push a little bit too straight, you can find that. What's really important is to manage that late hyzer fade, timing it nicely. If you fade a little bit early, you'd have more trees to contend with and tighter gaps.
Yeah, the OB here is probably only 6 meters behind the basket, so controlling that distance is one of the most important factors. Kristin does a great job and just fades into the trees nice and late and will be inside the circle.
We see Silva here actually opting for more of a soft flex. Look to have a really nice speed on that, but hitting one of those very last trees. She is in circle 2. Silva, being one of the strongest putters in the FPO field, will certainly still leave her with a chance at the birdie. And Eveliina now.
Lovely looking hyzer shot from Eveliina, and just unfortunate to not be able to hit a tree gap. It's very hard to try and predict which gap you're going to hit. It's blind off the tee, you cannot see the basket.
And we see
Henna with a slight late release, but makes it through, rides the right hand side and then hyzers in nicely into the circle. She'll have a long look at birdie.
Yeah, utilizing the full width of the fairway available to her, and she has found herself with a putt. Both Silva and Eveliina still outside the circle. We go to Silva first. And she's good for it. That is a classic Saarinen putt right there. That 8 to 12 meter range she's really comfortable in and on full display. She finds her second birdie here of this final round so far. We get another look from the catch cam.
Yeah, fantastic putt from Silva as always.
Eveliina a little bit shy, didn't have quite as much of an open angle with the trees in her way. Henna as well forced to this straddle to open up the putting stroke, and just a touch shy we see Kristin.
Makes it look easy. Another birdie on her card, and back to evens for the round.
And how is hole 4 playing in terms of difficulty? It does have its dangers, but if you're able to hit the green, it's quite friendly.
Yeah, hole 4 played just under par on the day. It is quite a friendly hole, I would agree. The only danger really being OB long.
Here we are on hole number 5, A par 4 at 201 meters. You see this initial obstacle structure in the center of the fairway, as well as OB to the left and the right. For these right-handed players, this OB to the left coming very much more into play than the right side, as you want to try and get your drive anywhere near this dogleg to the left, keeping your disc in bounds. You then have a series of gaps between the trees, as well as the low ceiling to navigate if you want to get to the green on your second and hopefully find that birdie putt. This hole, certainly very easy to pick up a penalty stroke either on the first or second. If you can keep it clean, it really goes a long way.
Yeah, absolutely. Playing is half a stroke over par on the day. A difficult tee shot where you need to choose your risk-reward percentage. Either try and attack and make the birdie easier, but bring the OB left into play, or play slightly shorter and make the birdie a little more difficult. Kristin with what looks to be a brilliant shot. A long way down there, but maybe safe. Looks safe.
To the crowd's applause,
that
it
OB
was
left
cutting
really
it
coming into
very
play.
close. And that's quite a common result for the right-handed backhand. We've seen Silva on previous days go to the right of this structure, really erring to the side of caution with more of a hyzer angle than a turnover. And we see that work out nicely for her, sneaking her way just past that Prodigy distance banner of, I believe, 100 meters remaining. So she has about 95 into the green.
Eveliina, a lovely turnover shot. Bites off lots of distance. Really nicely into the middle.
Henna has had some incredible drives on this hole here on coverage in previous rounds, really able to push the distance. We see today her finding a little bit too much turnover, but fortunate to spit back out into an open look. Although the footing might be slightly awkward, could have potentially removed OB right from coming into play as well, with that tree filtering back into the fairway. She's looking to shape this flex now.
Yeah, nice shot from Henna. It just skids into the ground and stops. Today, because the ground is quite wet from the rain this morning, discs are skipping and sliding a little bit more than they have been doing during the rest of the week. Silva with a safe stop shot into the middle, but just catches branches, leaving her outside of the circle.
Eveliina with a great drive. Had an opportunity there, but also catching some leaves on her way, unable to make it to the green in two, will leave her with likely a long jump putt or a short throw. We go to Kristin here, who was in fact looking like she's inbounds. She makes her way to the green, a little bit nose up, contributing to quite a lot of hyzer fade, but she is at circle's edge, just inside, putting for her birdie. Yet to take a par here in this final round. Your leader still attacking.
Silva with the pitch up into the circle. A tester putt for some, but for Silva, likely no problem.
Henna sneaking her way to 6 or 7 meters. Eveliina with a simple putt approach as well. No worries for her. She'll be looking at a stress-free par. This is Kristin for the birdie. And a little bit shy, putting towards that line of spectators.
Silva making things look easy. Nice par putt from her there. And Henna converting on her par putt too. Very nice.
Very nice putting stroke from Henna there. Centered and looking like very good timing. Kristin with that short putt left for her par now. Going from a birdie putt to a bogey putt. As our other competitors take their pars, we saw Kristin with the best chance at the 3, but in fact now losing a stroke to her cardmates, who, although Kristin has a huge lead, of course they're looking to push the pace as much as possible and try and catch up to her. Here we are on hole number 6. An 82-meter downhill par 3 tunnel shot. You see this initial gap to hit with OB very tightly to both the left and right, as well as long on the green. Any significant kick off one of these trees is very likely to find you out of bounds. This one requires a great touch and angle control, both on the hyzer and nose angles, as going downhill a lot of players will opt to throw low, ensure that they don't fly long, and look to control the speed with a lower speed disc.
Yeah, the shortest hole in the course, but by no means the easiest. This played is over about half a stroke over par on the day. Silva, with the brilliant control of the putter, just rides that left-hand side of the tunnel and has straight finish to finish just outside the bullseye. It's exactly what you want from this tee shot.
Silva has been putting together a really impressive 2023 season for herself. Eveliina finding that very last tree, and as she looks to cut the corner on OB, does not return back inbounds. An unfortunate break for her, but also unfortunately fairly common. Very rare that all 4 players on a card get through this one cleanly, and a great delivery to the green for Henna there. Beautiful.
Kristin going with the forehand line. Maybe keeping the gap in her sights makes the forehand line maybe slightly easier, and Kristin's forehand unfortunately kicks one of the first trees and kicks right OB.
So that's par pretty much out of play. Kristin again finding troubles on her way to the green, keeping it wide. First to the right off the tee and then left on her second shot. You see a little bit of comforting there from her caddy, Silva, as she looks to give this a bid, and a little bit short, but that is a lengthy and demanding putt. Really not expecting anyone to make that one.
Eveliina from circle 2 gives it a good run, good height, and will be just past the basket.
But Henna able to connect with that birdie and get her round to 1 under now. Her second birdie with only a single bogey on the card here in the final round. Henna has put herself just 1 behind Eveliina now, but Silva continuing to separate in that second place position, putting together a great front 9, finding her 3rd birdie there. Still very clean as well for Silva, the only one on our lead card bogey free.
Eveliina tapping in her bogey, and Kristin the double, unfortunately.
And the 2-stroke swing there. Henna and Eveliina tied. Hole 7. One of the most difficult on the course, despite its shorter distance as a 186-meter par 4. Incredibly demanding, both on the tee shot as well as the approach, and even potentially the putt. You have this initial gap to hit with the high floor and low ceiling, giving you a very narrow width and making it quite hard to progress as far as you would like up the fairway. You want to ideally position yourself either with the first or second shot close enough to this OB line that you are able to cross over into the green that is extremely tight, playing with island rules, meaning that if you don't stick it, you have to throw from where you crossed on the early side of the fairway. Very punishing, and certainly a hole where you're happy to walk away with par.
Absolutely, yeah. Hole 7 is played as one of the most difficult holes all weekend, with today being no exception. Almost a stroke over par. Silva straight down the middle, just hyzes out to the left-hand side and will be up on the top of that hill. Should give her a flat shot for her next approach. Henna looking to bite off some distance here. Just a tree kick on the right-hand side. She will find that right-hand side OB.
And potentially missing the Mando there. Not too much difference though in her lie between the drop zone and the OB cross. You do see Eveliina there. A nice forwards pushing shot for her as we go to Kristin now.
Brilliant shot from Kristin, straight down the middle, quite a low line. It's a difficult tee shot with that low ceiling and high floor, like you say.
Here we see Henna. This is her second throw, but third stroke. Ideally, she wants to get as close as she can, and she's done just that, and very nicely placed. That should allow her, hopefully, a reasonable chance to cross over into that green. We see Silva dropping to the knee for the low ceiling. I think also just looking to pitch up before the line. We see the hyzer. A lot of players do look to push the right side of the fairway, but a bit of an unforced error there. Perhaps the tricky stance providing some complications. We do see Silva go OB as she's just trying to pitch up before that line. You do want to push it as close as you can, though, to minimize the distance to the green. We see a safer shot from Kristin.
Yeah, perhaps a little more skip on the grass than Silva was expecting. The conditions are slightly wet today, so a little different to previous days. Eveliina with the pitch up. There's many different gaps through this tree line. Eveliina going with the forehand route. Getting herself over that barrier and perfectly into the circle.
Great execution. You see Henna also dropping to the knee on hole 7, but just not enough power generated to crest that wall. Effectively rethrowing, but able to make the adjustment, and she sticks it. Nicely done. You saw that one as she was coming off the line, didn't need to drop to the knee for. Kristin with a very soft bid to the green and just off the wall. She will also have to give it another chance.
Some more difficult low ceiling shots for our players on this upshot now. The OB is only just behind the basket at maybe 5 or 6 meters, so sticking that island is really quite a difficult thing to get the height to go over that wall, but to not go too far into the OB. Kristin makes it with her second shot towards the island.
Henna with her chance, and even at that range, you see OB coming into play. As you touched on, Rachel, only 3 or 4 meters behind the basket. You see just that bullseye line even pushing the out of bounds. We do see that danger come into play on Henna's putt, but Eveliina good in the chains and a very nice par to take.
Silva with the bogey after her upshot went OB. You can see the spectators behind the basket. It's quite a scary putt looking towards everybody and towards the OB, so Henna makes good on her second putt, as does Kristin.
But unfortunately,
Kristin.
Quite a big number for Henna. We see the double bogey for Kristin as well, the single bogey for Silva, showing just why this hole comes in as one of the most difficult. A great and crucial time for Eveliina to take the par and try to fight for that second place position. We see here one of the many extremely straight tunnel shots, a treacherous hole full of danger. You have this Mando about halfway up on the right side, ensuring that they'll keep you honest down the middle. This one will really test your ability to craft the straight shot, playing a softly downhill at 105 as a par 3. You want to get that nose angle down a little bit and push something up to flat, let it ride.
Hole 8 playing is the most difficult on the day. Over 1 stroke over par. An extremely difficult tee shot. And Eveliina with the dish just a little more turned over than she would like. Kicks a right side tree, but stays safe in the middle of the fairway.
Rachel, did the moisture and rain of the day, the weather conditions, affect the grip on the tee at all in terms of footing?
Maybe not so much on the tee, perhaps affected the grip of the disc slightly. You know, if you couldn't get your disc fully dry before throwing, either whilst throwing off the tee or on the putts, then could definitely run into some difficulty on the day. Kristin kicks maybe the tree before the Mando and will stay safe in bounds as well. A very difficult tee shot to lace all the way down the middle.
Henna looking to use this height, getting it to that right side, but a huge kick from said height, and that will leave her OB left. We see no drives find cleanly that very small and narrow fairway. Thank you to all of our volunteers and organizers, tournament directors, everyone who was involved in the hard work and setup of this amazing event.
Eveliina progresses about halfway down the fairway now with her second shot, also kicking another tree. And if you're off the middle of the fairway, then it is an extremely difficult next shot. Silva kicking right hand side, but just staying safe as the disc hyzers back.
An incredible score separating hole. We see Kristin was safe off her kick, able to deliver a nice smooth shot into the green. She will be putting for par there.
Another hole with OB just behind the basket. You definitely don't want to push your shots long and into the OB. Eveliina does a brilliant job of speed control and leaves herself in the bullseye.
Silva with some great distance to her putt, able to jump that one up around the outside, having already passed around the Mando on the right. She is available to use that full hyzer entrance into the green. And Henna pinning it casually. She's a great standstill backhand thrower.
Kristin with the look at par. Just a little short. Like I say, the rain perhaps affecting the grip on the putters. If you can't get your putter quite dry, it might just feel a little bit damp underneath your fingers, and you know, just anything a little different to normal can slightly get into your head.
As we see the bogey for Silva. Eveliina as well. Kristin still yet to take a par, as that was an opportunity for her there. She comes back for the bogey as well. And Henna with her OB kick finds the same. We find ourselves here on hole number 9, a par 3 at 106 meters. You have the initial gap to hit off the tee, where the fairway then opens up very nicely and moves to the left. This shot shaping really comfortably and naturally for the right-handed backhand hyzer. If you want to get a little bit of extra distance, you can flip it up to flat slightly, but you really do need to ensure quite significant right to left movement in your shot shape if you want to put it close. That elevated basket really encouraging an aggressive shot to try and mitigate the danger of that putt.
And Eveliina showing us her full power here. Hyzer distance the whole way and gets the disc up into the bullseye. A fantastic shot. Hole 9 here, finally providing some relief from the difficulty. Plays as just under par on the day. A slightly easier hole than the past couple. Silva also with the brilliant hyzer shot gets herself just into C1.
We go to Kristin now after a difficult stretch of holes for her. She does find the hyzer shape, but a little bit wide out of the gap, and a very unfortunate forwards pushing skip, not quite flaring to the left, but rather straight. Again, maybe that wet grass not offering as much grip as it usually would, and Kristin there pretty much playing for bogey from where she crossed, as we see it.
Yeah, absolutely. Different ground reactions today than the previous days. Perhaps our players not quite expecting that. Kristin with the pitch up just into the circle. And Silva with the look at birdie from long range. A fantastic putt from Silva.
And that 9 or more meter putt to the elevated looking so simple for her. You mentioned it was a longer putt, looked very routine for her. As you see another look. Clean putting stroke and dead on.
Absolutely brilliant. Her confidence seems unwavering in her putt. Henna also with the long look, just kicked cage.
Eveliina absolutely parked it from the bullseye, tapping in her birdie to return her round back to even sitting at 1 over now. Significant separation in terms of scoring between all 4 of our players here on the lead card. Going into the back 9, we see Kristin currently sitting at 12 under. Behind her, Silva with a great front 9. And as we take a look at the standings, we see exactly that. Kristin has retained the solo lead position despite losing a few strokes to her card mates on this front 9. Came in with a healthy lead. Silva Saarinen sitting 7 strokes behind her in second place, 6 strokes over Eveliina in third, who is 5 strokes ahead of Eveliina. Snuck her way into 4th place over Henna with a 2 over front 9. Rachel, some great action.
Yeah, difficult front 9 for our lead card. Let's see how we can attack the back 9.
We appreciate all of you joining us here for this coverage. You can like, comment, and subscribe here on the video if you would like to support us, and you can also check out the Patreon if you choose to. We appreciate all of you, and we hope you join us for the exciting conclusion over on the back 9. See you there.